What's up, everybody? Nope, I don't like that. What's up, everybody? It's your favorite real estate investor, Mike Anderson, here with you with Escape Velocity Solutions and the Let's Get Paid model. Now, I know that by now you guys are probably seeing the podcast that's floating around YouTube, floating around Instagram and other social medias of that sort. When I got the opportunity to sit down with the man himself, Max Maxwell. So I know there's probably a lot of questions, so I'm just gonna give a rundown and an overview of what that day entailed for me. First off, hats off to Max. I really appreciate him having me out there and being able to utilize his time in the way that we did. It was a very, very eye-opening visit for me in a lot of ways, right? And when I say that, a lot of it is in myself. Max was able to kind of open me up to some things in me that I did not see myself, which was great. But all in all, we got to go down there. We definitely talked some real estate. We definitely talked goals. Max was able to show me a few of the things, a few of his ways of how he does his acquisitions. In turn, I was able to share with him, you know, how we do our acquisitions, right? Which he was extremely impressed. I got to meet his team, you know, his whole PR team, his videography team. Man, they were awesome, man. Everything was awesome. He gave me some really good tips on some things that I feel is really going to propel my business forward, but also gave me some really good information that's going to allow me to set some things up to where you guys will be able to benefit off of that as well. When I first started entertaining the whole real estate thing, you know, of course, the first thing you look at is the first thing that you hear is, you know, investing in real estate with no money, right? They say you don't need any money. You can do it using other people's money or very, very little money down. So, okay, that was the first thing I started to look up. So when I started doing that research and gaining some information on how I could go about doing that, wholesaling popped up. So, of course, I'm looking up, you know, wholesale gurus, just trying to, you know, figure out who I can listen to that I can resonate with to teach me the game, basically, so that I can take what they're doing or what they're teaching and go implement it. So Max wasn't actually the first one that I ran across. I actually ran across another cat. I'm not going to name him because I just wasn't impressed with what he had, and I'm not here to tarnish anybody's, you know, program or what it is they're doing. It just didn't resonate with me. So I continued my search, and, you know, I'm reading my books, you know, was the Millionaire Next Door, Real Estate Millionaire Investor, and all that good stuff. And I ran across Max on his on YouTube. I ran across his YouTube when he was talking about how he got into his wholesaling. And the thing that really got to me with Max was one of his stories that he tells is how real estate was not his first thing. You know what I'm saying? He started and failed multiple other businesses before actually getting into real estate. What Max says, he's a serial entrepreneur that found an avenue to wealth through real estate. And that resonated with me because I've been in the entrepreneurship game since 2014. You know what I'm saying? I tried several things from network marketing to trading Forex. To me and my partner, DeMarco, we started the e-commerce business, which we did well in. But I still wanted to get into real estate. You know what I'm saying? So when I found Max and listening to his story, I'm like, okay, I got to hear what this brother got to say because he sounds just like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, we trying to get it right. We ain't been able to, but we found something that stick. So, you know, my interest in real estate was peaked really high at the time. So I'm listening to him. I'm seeing how he's doing these wholesale deals throughout the Winston-Salem market, man. I'm like, man, I got to figure out how I can apply that to this Dallas market. So he had a course that I bought for $100 online, went through it. Mad information, great information. And I just took that, applied it. And I got me a couple wholesale deals, but even all in all, like even if you take what Max is saying and you apply it, it definitely works. I'm a product of it, right? But there's still things that there's still speed bumps that you run across on the way. You know what I'm saying? That you got to learn how to navigate on your own, which just comes through action. You got to get yourself out there, get your feet wet, and then do it. So when I did my real estate deals, my wholesale deals, I didn't net that much. Honestly, I was basically breaking even from what I was spending in marketing to what I netted off of the actual deal. But like I said in the podcast as well, what I did net that was way more than anything monetary was the confidence. It's like, okay, now I have the confidence that I can close a deal. I've been through it. I know how to navigate it. Okay, yeah, I may have not netted as much on my profit, but I netted a lot of confidence. I know I can do it again. So how can I scale it, right? How can I scale this to where I can have 5 to 10 wholesale deals a month? That was my goal going into it. So I started building my buyers list. He talks about that a lot. Building your buyers list. As I'm building my buyers list is when I ran into my next mentor, which propelled me to that next level. But I'm still using stuff that I learned from Max, you know, from his podcast, from his YouTube videos, and then from his training, right? So everything that I was implying from Max's teaching on this end, it meshed with what we were doing on this end, right? It was basically the same approach to an extent. We just had a different strategy. So instead of wholesaling, okay, we're actually purchasing homes and we're flipping them, okay, which is what I wanted to get into, so it made sense. So that's how I came across Max, man. That's how Max came into being one of my first mentors in the real estate game. Was me trying to figure out ways to invest in real estate with little money down, which drew me to the wholesaling.
Execute. And I can make those things do. The things that I'm thinking about, man, they may not happen in my lifetime. But if I plant the seed now while I'm here, when I go, there will be a structure that is set up to where everything I see will come to fruition.
Man, no, real talk. So the conversation we was having right there was just basically talking about the transition, which I think a lot of people don't pay attention to. The transition of really stepping into your purpose. You know what I'm saying? We were talking about the resistance that is there when you're going off to, I call it going against the grain, right? But when you're going off to start that project or step into that field of work that, you know, truly fulfills you, that may not make sense to everybody that surrounds you. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing about me, and you'll hear me say this a lot, is understanding, man. I'm a man of understanding, and there are different levels of understanding. So when you jump into this venture, you know, you're breaking a curse, man. You got to understand what you're doing is huge. It gives me chills, real talk, when I talk about it. It's huge because you're changing the narrative of not just yourself, but for generations to come after you. And there's so much resistance that comes with that I don't necessarily think people understand enough to be able to mentally equip themselves to be prepared for it. You know, so when I stepped into the whole real estate thing, of course, it's like, oh, great, you're doing real estate, but people are also looking for the instant gratification of what it is that you say that you're doing. Because what does that job give us? You know, we go work 40 hours a week at a job. Friday, we get a check cut. No matter how we performed, you know what I'm saying? As long as we clocked in, you know what I'm saying? As long as we clocked in and we worked them hours, we get paid for those hours. So a lot of the people that are around us have that mentality, and you can't blame them for that because that's what they came up in. That's what they're still in. You know what I'm saying? But when you try to turn the wheel and go off into something different, you get that resistance. Why are you doing that? You know, and especially for me, I wasn't coming from a low wage job. You know, I wasn't coming from, you know, where I was just struggling. Like, I was living nice. You know, I had a 6-figure job. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people are looking, I got a 6-figure job with a Fortune 50 company, you know, that I have paid benefits, you know, all this other stuff. Those are the metrics that a good life is judged by a lot of people. So when I went to step away from that, you know, people are asking questions like, man, why you're 31 years old, man, why you know what I'm saying? Why are you stepping away from a good job like that? You're a supervisor, you making 6 figures, you got free benefits, you have the possibility and potential to work your way up the ladder. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? And it's like, no matter how much you try to explain your position, they just don't get it. And that can be the most frustrating part of it, because in your mind, you're like, man, I'm doing this for us. You know what I'm saying? To show a better way, to show another way. You know what I'm saying? To get you out of the position that you in, right? But it's just like they just don't see it. And then when you do start getting into a position of success, right, based off what they see, you got to go through the entitlement, you know. But I'll always say this, and the thing is, this has stuck with me for years. My cousin actually told me this. My cousin Jordan told me this years ago. When I had first jumped into my entrepreneurship endeavors and different companies and businesses that I was starting, I had this vision. And I so badly wanted everybody around me to see that vision, to the point to where I'm denigrating people. I'm using compulsion, because I'm like, how don't y'all see this? Like, if you don't see this, you crazy as hell, all this other stuff. And it's like, come on, like, I got a different level of understanding, bro. So what he told me, and I'm gonna say this because it might stick with you the way that it stuck with me. He said, never denigrate or use compulsion when trying to articulate your vision. But first, practice and prove self-mastery by acquiring what it is that you want for self first. Then once you do that, the right people will come back and ask what you did and how you did it. And then from that point, you can be of value from a consultative standpoint, right? And I took that, and it really resonated with me. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Stop trying to push your vision out on people. Go do what you said you were going to do. You know what I'm saying? Because that fight is with you and nobody else. If you said you were going to do it, then you owe yourself that. So go out and do that. Acquire what it is that you said you were going to acquire. And in the meantime of you doing that, people are watching. They're going to see what you're doing. So the ones that may not had the courage to say something when you first started, are they going to say something now? Right? Or the ones that are truly interested in what it is that you're doing and want to gain access, you're going to hear me use that a lot. Now they're coming to you. And now your word that you speak to them, it holds a lot more weight because they're truly seeking it from you. You see what I'm saying? It's a difference from seeking the information than having the information vomited all on you involuntarily, because you're not going to catch what's being said. You're not going to catch the information that's being across. So the biggest thing that you can do is just go acquire what it is that you want for self, and then let the other people come. Let them ask the questions, and you see how you can add value from your consultative perspective from that point. So that's a little bit of what we was talking about, and it was dope because I didn't expect that to be on video because it was raw talk. You know what I'm saying? It was just some raw talk. He was kind of telling me his story and how he got to where he was at that point, and I was telling him basically the same thing, and that's what that came about. But no, that's exactly what it is. Like, and towards the end of that clip right there, you hear me say, like, my end goal, like, I'm not going to be alive to see what I see. You see what I'm saying? My vision is so far out that it doesn't even count, my lifespan. Like, my lifespan will end before my vision is actually fulfilled, but I'm cool with that. So it's planting the seed now and doing what needs to be done now. And that takes going against the grain. That takes having that escape velocity. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know what escape velocity is actually, I'm gonna go through this real quick, a little extra, right? So escape velocity is actually a NASA term. It's a NASA formula that they came up with for the minimal amount of velocity and force needed for a spacecraft to penetrate Earth's atmosphere. Now, if you look at that from a science standpoint, it makes sense. But if you correlate it to a business or just life standpoint, it also makes sense. When you are jumping into a business in whatever endeavor it is, doesn't have to be real estate, whatever it is, you have to create momentum, right? So that means you have to create a baseline amount of velocity, of momentum, to be able to propel yourself out of your state of mediocrity into your greatness. You see what I'm saying? Now, in a spaceship, this is important, this is a key. In the spaceship, Houston, Houston, 3, 2, 1, blast off. Now, if that spaceship in midair loses velocity, what happens? It doesn't make it out of the Earth's atmosphere and it's crashing in somebody's, yard or in the ocean somewhere. If that spaceship, when it takes off, decides I'm going to take a break midair, it loses all of its momentum. There is no velocity. It will never penetrate Earth's atmosphere to make it into space. The same thing applies for you and what it is that you're doing. You can't stop. You can't. Whether you quit or keep going, that shit hurts the same. You see what I'm saying? So you got to sit down and you got to figure out what you're going to do. You're going to quit? Because if you quit, guess what? You can't pick up where you left off. And a lot of people think they can. You can't pick up where you left off. You got to start all the way over. You got to start and you got to build up that velocity and that momentum again to be able to propel you forward again. So when you do get in spurts of momentum, it's essential that you take advantage of it. You have to, even when it's scary. If you don't know it, learn on your way, right? But you have to create that momentum that's going to push you through the resistance. A spaceship's resistance is gravity, right? Well, our gravity is what I was just talking about. Your family, your friends, your mentality, how you look at things, how you attack it. That conversation that you have with self in the morning, those conversations that you have with self throughout the day, right? Right? Ricky may not understand what Mike is feeling, right? But Mike has to be strong enough in what he feels to not let the negativity that Ricky may show me or bring to me affect me and what it is that I'm doing, because I'm on a mission. And when you're on a mission, there's another saying, when you're on a mission, your worst enemy is idle time. You got to keep going. You got to keep pushing. Even if you're moving slow motion is better than no motion as long as the direction is forward. So you got to keep your feet on the ground and you got to keep going. You have to create that escape velocity for yourself, right? So I kind of went on a tangent, but that was my mentality behind, what we were talking about and how I think when it comes to me running my business and the things that I have in the foresight for my business. I got a lot to come. And I know this is going to take a lot of work. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. But having the momentum that I'm having and continuing to push the gas in what it is that I'm doing, I know without a shadow of a doubt, I know I'm going to get there. And with the seeds that I plant, I'm going to continue to water them, and I'm going to teach the ones after me to water them for when I go so they continue to nurture it. It's going to grow. It's going to sprout. I promise you. And I know everybody else has that same vision as well in certain things it is that they're doing. But they just have to make sure that they keep up with that momentum and continue to push even when it gets hard. So that's what that was from, man. Well, I just got y'all a word, boy. All right, let's tap in.
I don't know why we got a lock on.
So what we were actually doing right here, so Max is from Winston-Salem. And what he did is he bought an old meat market and has the developers and everything working with them. He's going to turn it to a 4-unit strip mall shopping center. So that's where we're at right now in this video. It's in mid demolition. He's kind of giving an overview of what he plans to do. What was so dope to me about this, and one of the reasons that we kind of went out there was our access talk, right? This was so inspiring to me because what Max is doing, right? And Max, man, you can text me, email me, correct me if I'm wrong, but what he's doing, man, is he is implementing the access, right? Because like I said, so Max is in Winston-Salem, right? That's where he was raised, right? And this is a form of giving back to his community in a major way. In a major way. A lot of people may not see it that way. Oh, he's buying a property so he can make some money. No, what he's doing is he's buying commercial real estate to create jobs, right? In a part of town that is not really up and going. You create those jobs, we had this talk, you create those jobs, right? That boosts the economy. Now you got people with work. Now you have other places where people can come spend money, which then does what? That brings people to that location. So that gives you a reason now to start building the residential real estate because you brought jobs, you brought money to the actual city. That's exactly what he's doing. It's exactly what he's doing with this. That's access. That's access. When you own that land and you own those buildings and you tell what goes in there and what doesn't go in there, and you create this in your, that's how you give back. That's how you give back. That's so selfless. People will say, oh, you know, he's just making it. No, that's selfless. That's a selfless move, because Max could have did anything that he wanted with that money. And he could have went anywhere that he wanted with that money to invest. That probably would have got him, you know, a ROI tenfold of what he make, you know, what would be made off of this one. But it's the thought that I'm in a community that I know, I understand how this works, and I want to give back to my community. Let me give back to my community in the grandest way by creating jobs and bringing money and a heavier economy flow into my community. So that's what we was doing right here. So that's what I took away from that. Like I said, Max, if I'm wrong about that, man, and you got other intentions, hit me up. But that's what I took from that, and I thought this was pretty dope. So that's where we're at, man. We're in mid-demo. You'll see where we get to talking with the guy that's you know, running the demo and whatnot as well. So yeah, let's keep that running.
Yes, all blocks. You up after the thing, and we'll get together. Thank you too, bro.
So that right there, that was an extension of what was being done at the meat market for the strip mall. So another thing that I admire about him is he's so homegrown, man, to where he uses homegrown businesses. You know, that was the guy that he was talking to about the brick, you know, material that it's going to take for them to build the shopping strip. I just thought that was dope, man. He put over, literally hollered out the window while my man's was working on his yard, and he comes over and he gets to chop and they get to talking business and stuff, man. That was cool. So that's what was going on right there. And now you're gonna see that we actually going to his hangar for his planes, man.
Yo, greed at the top is crazy.
Innovative minds like that's what changes the game. He pulls that shit off, man, and that puts him on another level of goatness, man, to be for real. Because what he's talking about is one thing that we all deal with being real estate investors. And it's the money, man, that we're paying, you know, general contractors. And basically what he's saying is like, man, if we're all in this together, and it's just not the mentality you trying to make money off of me or whatever the case may be, or you make money off of my money, which it is a lot of time, you know, a general contractor basically see how much you're spending, you know, and then they try to capitalize off of it. What he's saying is, I'm gonna give you a flat rate based off, you know, what we feel, you know, the workload is gonna be. Now, if it comes under budget, you just got to raise. You know, you got an extra little percentage, but let's do it to where we can all win instead of it being a dog eat dog in a situation where we should be helping each other. You know, you shouldn't be trying to make money off of me. I'm putting money in your pocket by going with you. So this is innovative thinking, man. That's just, you know, just part of his genius, to be honest, man. That was game is what it was. So those who heard that and are listening to this again, pick up on that, man, for real.
Only one of them might even entertain your offer. The other four don't need a real estate agent.
So in that clip, we were going over acquisitions. He was kind of asking me, want me to walk him through how I get a deal from front to back, from, you know, getting the leads from the acquisitions to, you know, profit strategy, right? And what he was giving me is, it's another form of access, right? He was taking my method of how we acquire our leads and how we do our deals, and looking at it from a bird's eye view and saying, hey, you know, you can do A, B, and C that will make you even that more efficient in what it is that you're doing. We talked about a niche, right? When it comes to real estate is so broad. There's so many ways that you can make money. But the way that he put it, you hear him talk about the foot doctor, a specialist. If you get like your primary doctor and then you get a specialist, who makes more? The specialist all day long, because they have a niche that they have mastered and they are expert at that specific thing. So if somebody has that issue going on, they're going to go to somebody that has a specific expert or has a specific level of expertise for that specific thing, right? So that's basically the same thing that, you know, we're doing in real estate. Our niche is pre-foreclosure. Okay, so, you know, we're trying to get to the homeowner at the earliest possible stage. And for us right now, that's as soon as the county makes it a public record that the house is actually facing foreclosure. So the innovative mindset in him, and as well as myself, because I asked these same questions, but he was able to provide answers to basically the questions I was asking. How do we get them before then, right? If our earliest point of detection is once the county makes public record, is there a way to get to those homeowners before then? And if so, how? Right? So that's kind of what we were going through. And he gave us, he gave me some information that will definitely help with that. I'm not going to tell you guys that, not yet. If you want to learn that, or if you want to know that, then you guys know where to reach me, but I won't give you that. But he definitely gave me some access on some things that I can implement into my business process when it comes to, at the point of contact of when I'm getting the lead, if I can get it sooner than that. So that's what that conversation was about right there. And as difficult as you thought it was, it's not that difficult. It's going to take some work, but as hard as you thought it was, it's not. Yeah, man. I mean, that basically sums that up right there. The ending, that's actually a snippet of the podcast where Max was just basically asking me, what's my goal, right? What is it that I'm trying to do, right? What is my purpose behind?
If you've got the Airbnb app,
What is my purpose behind all of this, right? And it's to get it to the masses, like I told him, but through demonstration, like we talked about. We have so many people that are willing to sit here and talk about it with no receipts to back up if they've actually done it. Got too much of that, man. I want to be able to pull people in by what they see me doing, right? By the demonstration that's being done. You know what I mean? And show people that, it's not as hard as you thought it was. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it's hard work, right? Because that's the thing. What's simple doesn't mean it's easy. You see what I'm saying? People mix that up, man. They tend to mix up simplicity and something being easy, and it's not the same thing. Something can have a simple process, but the work can be hard. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's real estate, right? And especially the niche that I'm in. The process is simple, but there's a lot of work that you got to put into it in order to make that process work from start to finish, right? To actually implement it and execute it. So that's what I meant by that. Like, you get into it and you can see somebody that's actually doing it based off their demonstration. So where you're seeing it being done, you can see that it's not that hard. You'll see that it's hard work and a lot goes into it, but you'll see that the process and the structure of it to be able to get it done, it's not that difficult, man. So that's what that was, man. Just complete overview of what it is that we did and what my experience was when I was with Max, man. Like you could see in the video, and as I described certain key points in that video, it was a lot of access, right? He was giving a lot of access through information, right? Provide me with some information that can change my situation. And in turn, when I implement that, it changes the situation of everybody that's within my downline in my company, right? Now I'm able to implement that process into the business, right? And then roll it out to the people that join the business, right? That join the program, and it works out for them. It's a benefit. It's a win-win. So that's what that was, man. I had a great time. Man, Max is genius, man. You know what I'm saying? He's a very talented dude. He's a very real dude. You know what I mean? I say that because he's authentic, man. Like, there's not one point in time, when I was with him, did I feel like anything was fake, anything was forced. He was just unapologetically himself. And me being a person that's the same way, I'm unapologetically me. This is me, right? To see somebody take who they are, right, and put it on a platform to where you make it cool to be yourself. You know what I mean? So, no, it was a dope experience. Anybody that had the opportunity to experience that, you should, especially if you're trying to grow your business in real estate. Max definitely has some, even outside of just real estate knowledge, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to social media, when it comes to just expanding your brand all in all. He has some gems, man. So I definitely walked away with a lot more than I walked in with. And I plan to take that information implement it into my business and then get it out to you guys so you guys can do the exact same thing. I hope I inspire you to go inspire somebody else. Okay. And you're going to inspire somebody else by action, by getting off your ass and getting out there and doing it. Right. You can have faith all day long. Faith without action is dead. It's dead. You got to get on your feet and you got to get to it. You know what I'm saying? Slow motion better than no motion. Do not be afraid of moving slow. Just make sure you continue to move. So hopefully y'all took something out of that. There's a little bit of breakdown. I think we will do later on. We'll probably break down the actual podcast. There's key points in that podcast that I would like to explain and kind of deep dive in on for you guys, but we'll do that at a later date. But all in all, this was the overview of my day with Max. It was wonderful. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it and tuning in on the key points that I was able to give for it, man.